Football, the world's game. A sport that unites nations, ignites passions, and creates heroes. But behind the roar of the crowd, beneath the glow of stadium lights, lies a shadowy world few dare to talk about. This is not the story of goals and glory. This is the story of betrayal, corruption, tragedy, and the darkest moments that football tried to bury. From scandals that shook entire nations, to tragedies that scarred generations, we're peeling back the curtain on the side of football the cameras don't want you to see. This is the dark side of football. 1. Calciopoli, when Juventus bent Italy. Italy was preparing for the World Cup. But back home, a scandal exploded that would forever stain Italian football. It was called Calciopoli. Investigators discovered wiretaps. Juventus officials had been hand-picking referees, deciding who should oversee their matches, and ensuring the outcomes bent in their favor. This wasn't just bad officiating, it was match-fixing at the highest level. The punishment was brutal. Juventus, the pride of Italy, stripped of titles. Relegated to Serie B in disgrace. AC Milan, Fiorentina, Lazio, and Regina all dragged down with them. But here's the twist. Just weeks later, Italy lifted the World Cup in Berlin. Fabio Cannavaro hoisted the trophy, and the nation celebrated, but the wounds of Calciopoli never healed. The scandal left a haunting question. If referees could be bought, what else could be manipulated? Was football ever truly pure? 2. FIFA, the house of corruption. For decades, FIFA sold us the dream of global football. But behind the scenes? It wasn't a federation, it was a cartel. Bribes for World Cup hosting rights. Votes bought with gold watches, luxury trips, and millions in cash. Executives who lived like kings while workers died building their stadiums. The FBI called it the World Cup of Fraud. Officials were arrested in luxury hotels. Sepp Blatter, the untouchable president, banned for life. South Africa 2010, Brazil 2014, Russia 2018, Qatar 2022, each tournament surrounded by whispers of corruption. And in Qatar, thousands of migrant workers never came home. The greatest prize in football had become a business soaked in blood. Fans began asking, is the World Cup about sport or about money? FIFA won't answer. But history already has. 3. Hillsborough, the day football turned deadly. April 15, 1989. Liverpool fans traveled to Sheffield for an FA Cup semi-final against Nottingham Forest. What was meant to be a celebration of football turned into its darkest day. Overcrowding at Hillsborough Stadium forced fans into already packed terraces. Barriers trapped them. People screamed for help, but police assumed it was hooliganism. They did nothing. 97 Liverpool fans never came home. Crushed. Suffocated. Children, fathers, daughters, lost in chaos. And the worst part? The cover-up. Authorities and tabloids blamed the victims, accusing fans of drunkenness and violence. It took decades for the truth to emerge. The police were responsible. Hillsborough wasn't just a tragedy. It was a betrayal. A reminder that football's authorities valued control more than human life. 4. Heysel, when rivalry killed football. May 29, 1985. The European Cup Final. Juventus versus Liverpool in Brussels. A night that should have been about glory turned into horror. Before kickoff, tensions boiled. Liverpool fans charged at Juventus supporters. A wall collapsed under the pressure. People were trapped, crushed. 39 fans lost their lives, most of them Italians. UEFA decided, unbelievably, that the game should go on. Michel Platini scored, Juventus lifted the trophy, but the victory felt poisoned. In the aftermath, English clubs were banned from Europe for 5 years. Liverpool, the greatest English team of the era, exiled. Heysel proved how quickly passion can turn to violence, and how football sometimes puts business before humanity. 5. Maradona, the fallen god. Diego Armando Maradona. A genius. A magician with the ball. To many, the greatest who ever lived. But also, a man consumed by his demons. From Napoli to Argentina, Maradona was worshipped like a god. He gave us the hand of God, the goal of the century, and lifted Argentina to World Cup glory in 1986. But fame devoured him. Cocaine, scandals, ties to the mafia. His private life became a storm of chaos. In Naples, he was untouchable on the pitch, but off it, he was spiraling out of control. Maradona's story is not just one of brilliance. It's also tragedy. A reminder that even gods are mortal. When he died in 2020, the world mourned. But deep down, we knew his greatness was forever tied to his flaws. 6. The death of Emiliano Sala. January 2019. Emiliano Sala had just signed the biggest contract of his life, moving from Nantes to Cardiff City for £15 million. It should have been the start of a dream. Instead, it ended in tragedy. Flying across the English Channel on a small private plane, Sala texted friends in fear, "This plane feels like it's falling apart." Minutes later, radar lost contact. The aircraft plunged into the sea. His body was found weeks later. The pilot was unlicensed to fly at night. The plane wasn't cleared for commercial use. Sala had been trapped in a chain of greed and negligence. What followed was even uglier. A legal battle over who should pay his transfer fee. Nantes demanded payment. Cardiff refused. Instead of mourning a lost life, clubs fought over money. Sala's death wasn't just an accident. It was proof that in football, sometimes profit comes before people. 7. The tragedy of Andrés Escobar. July 1994. Colombia's golden generation arrived at the USA World Cup. Andrés Escobar, their elegant defender, was the heart of the team. But one mistake would cost him his life. In a group stage match against the US, Escobar stretched to block a cross. Instead, the ball ricocheted into his own net. Colombia lost 2-1. They were eliminated. Days later, back home in Medellin, Escobar was shot 6 times outside a nightclub. His killer reportedly shouted, "Thanks for the own goal." Escobar's death shocked the world. He was only 27. A man remembered for his humility, silenced because of a mistake in a game. It showed how deeply football can cut, not just on the pitch, but in societies where passion and violence collide. Escobar's story is a tragic reminder. Football should never cost a life. 8. Qatar, the World Cup built on blood. When FIFA awarded the 2022 World Cup to Qatar, the world was stunned. A tiny desert nation with no football history, chosen over giants like the US and Australia. How? Money. Bribes. Power. But the real price was paid by workers. Thousands of migrant laborers from Nepal, India, and Bangladesh toiled in deadly heat, building stadiums that would vanish into history after 1 month of football. Reports suggest over 6,500 workers died. Fans arrived in luxury, but behind the spectacle were families mourning fathers and sons who never returned home. The tournament was dressed in glamour, Messi lifting the trophy in his bisht, but the question lingered, at what cost? Qatar 2022 gave us great football, but it also became a symbol of how sport can be used to wash reputations, turning blood into gold. 9. Racism, the stain that never leaves. For all of football's progress, one demon refuses to die: racism. From monkey chants in European stadiums to racial abuse on social media, black and minority players continue to carry a burden no athlete should face. Think of England's young stars, Bukayo Saka, Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, who missed penalties in the Euro 2020 final. Instead of sympathy, they were showered with racist hate. Or Vinicius Jr. in Spain, targeted again and again by fans. Instead of protection, he was told to ignore it. Football campaigns say no to racism. Armbands are worn. Banners are displayed. But on the terraces and online, the abuse keeps coming. It's the stain that never washes out. And until real consequences exist, empty stadiums, deducted points, racism will keep poisoning the beautiful game. 10. Match fixing when the game is rigged. Football sells us drama. The unpredictability of the next goal. But what if the outcome was already decided? Match fixing is football's darkest ghost. From Italy's Calciopoli to Asia's gambling syndicates, the sport has often been manipulated by money behind the scenes. Players bribed to concede penalties. Referees pressured to tilt decisions. Bettors making millions while fans unknowingly cheer for a lie. In 2013, Europol uncovered a scandal involving over 380 matches worldwide, including Champions League games. Fixing wasn't a rumor, it was reality. The danger? Once trust is gone, football collapses. If fans believe games are rigged, the magic dies. And yet, the fight continues. Because wherever there is money, there will always be temptation. And football? It's the richest playground of them all. Before we dive even deeper into these dark and shocking stories of football, I've got a quick question for you. Do you think football is still truly the beautiful game? Or has money, corruption, and tragedy tainted it forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you think. And hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss when we uncover more hidden truths of football. Trust me, what's coming next will blow your mind even more. Let's get back to it. 11. George Weah and corruption in Liberia. George Weah is a legend, the only African to ever win the Ballon d'Or. A striker who lit up Europe with AC Milan, PSG, and Monaco. But his story didn't end with football. It shifted into politics. In 2017, Weah became the president of Liberia, a nation torn by war and poverty. For many, he was hope incarnate, a football icon who understood the struggles of his people. But as years passed, criticism grew. Reports of corruption, misuse of funds, and failure to tackle poverty began to surface. For some, the dream of a footballer-turned-leader became another reminder of how power corrupts. Weah remains a hero on the pitch, but his presidency showed that even legends aren't immune to the darker realities of leadership. 12. The disappearance of Bruno Fernandes de Souza's lover. Brazil has produced icons like Pelé, Ronaldo, and Neymar. But it also produced one of football's darkest scandals. Bruno Fernandes de Souza, a goalkeeper for Flamengo, was once tipped for greatness. Then, his career collapsed when his girlfriend, Elisa Samudio, disappeared in 2010. The truth was horrifying. Bruno was found guilty of ordering her kidnapping and murder. Her body was never recovered. He was sentenced to over 20 years in prison, yet controversially, he was later allowed to return to professional football, sparking outrage across Brazil. This case wasn't just about one man's crime. It exposed how fame and football can shield even the most monstrous acts from true justice. 13. Gary Speed, a silent tragedy. Gary Speed was the embodiment of professionalism. A Premier League legend, with 535 appearances, captain of Wales, and admired by teammates and fans alike. But behind his smile, Speed battled demons no one saw. In November 2011, he was found dead at his home, an apparent suicide. The news stunned the footballing world. Speed's death forced the sport to face a brutal truth. Mental health struggles don't disappear under the spotlight. Fame, money, and respect don't erase pain. Since then, his passing has sparked conversations about support systems, depression, and the hidden struggles athletes face when the crowd stops cheering. 14. The Super League, Greed Over Glory. April 2021. The footballing world erupted in outrage. 12 of Europe's biggest clubs, including Real Madrid, Manchester United, and Juventus, announced a new breakaway competition, the European Super League. Their reason? Money. Guaranteed fixtures. More broadcasting power. Less risk. But fans, players, and even governments revolted. Protests filled stadiums. Pundits slammed the greed. Legends like Gary Neville called it an absolute disgrace. Within 48 hours, the Super League collapsed. Clubs backed out under massive pressure. The attempted coup revealed one thing. At the highest level, football isn't just about trophies or fans. It's about billionaires protecting their wallets. And they'll try again. 15. Barcelona, the financial collapse. Barcelona, once the model of football excellence. Home of Messi, Xavi, and Iniesta, the team that defined an era. But beneath the brilliance, financial ruin was brewing. Years of overspending, reckless wages, and poor management left the club drowning in debt, over €1 billion. By 2021, they couldn't even afford to renew Messi's contract. Fans wept as their icon left for Paris Saint-Germain. The collapse wasn't just about money, it was about identity. Barcelona went from more than a club to a warning sign of how even giants can fall. Today, they're rebuilding. But the scars of their financial mismanagement remain a cautionary tale for the entire sport. 16. Doping in football, the silent epidemic. Unlike cycling or athletics, football has long tried to present itself as clean. But doping exists here too, it's just better hidden. From whispers about blood boosting at Serie A clubs in the 1990s, to scandals in Russia, to Lionel Messi's Barcelona allegedly linked with questionable doctors, football's relationship with performance-enhancing drugs is murky. The fear isn't just players juicing, it's systematic cover-ups. Tests skipped, results lost, federations looking the other way. Doping in football doesn't make headlines like in other sports, but make no mistake, it lurks in the shadows. And the truth is darker than we're allowed to see. 17. The tragedy of Chapecoense. November 2016. The small Brazilian club Chapecoense had achieved the impossible. They reached the Copa Sudamericana final. It was the fairy tale of the year. But on the way to Medellin, tragedy struck. Their plane crashed. 71 people died. Players, staff, journalists. Only 6 survived. The footballing world mourned. Atlético Nacional, their opponents, even requested Chapecoense be awarded the title. Fans around the globe united in grief. Chapecoense's tragedy was a reminder of football's fragility. Behind every match are lives, dreams, and families. The crash wasn't just the end of a team, it was the shattering of a community. 18. Child trafficking in football. Every year, thousands of children dream of becoming footballers. But in that dream lies exploitation. Unscrupulous agents lure kids, especially from Africa and South America, with promises of trials in Europe. Families pay huge sums. Many children never make it and are abandoned, stranded without money, passports, or hope. This human trafficking disguised as football scouting is one of the sport's dirtiest secrets. FIFA claims to regulate it, but loopholes remain. For every Messi or Ronaldo, there are thousands of forgotten kids, lost to a system that treats dreams like commodities. 19. Political manipulation. Football isn't just sport, it's politics on a global stage. From Mussolini's Italy using the 1934 World Cup as propaganda, to Putin showcasing Russia 2018, leaders have always weaponized football for power. Clubs, too, are pawns. State-owned giants like PSG and Manchester City are accused of sports washing, polishing national images with football glory. Even matches themselves are manipulated, whether it's Cold War rivalries or governments pressuring referees. When the whistle blows, we see goals. But behind the curtain? Football is a tool of influence, soft power, and control. 20. The dark future. What does tomorrow hold for football? More money, more control, less heart. Super-rich owners are already reshaping the game. State-backed clubs dominate. Ticket prices soar. Technology changes everything. VAR, AI scouting, even digital fan engagement. But at what cost? Fans are losing their voice. Traditions are fading. And greed threatens to strip football of its soul. The future could be brighter. Fairer wages, transparency, real fan ownership. But unless the system changes, the beautiful game risks becoming a business empire where winning is secondary to profit. The dark future of football isn't written yet. But we're getting dangerously close. And there you have it, the scandals, the tragedies, the betrayals, and the shocking truths that reveal football's darkest side. From corruption to collapse, from heroes to villains, this is the game we love, and the game we must protect. But the story doesn't end here. Because football's future, its soul, depends on us, the fans. So I want to hear from you. Which of these dark stories shocked you the most? And who do you think is the most guilty? The players, the clubs, or the governing bodies? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold truths from the world of football. Until next time, remember, football isn't just about what happens on the pitch, it's about what they don't want you to see.